back to the Salty Bible Podcast. It is your hosts, Scott Zorn, and me, Blair Soto. We are going to bridge the gaps between Old Testament and New Testament today with an episode called Between the Testaments. I mean, to the point.
Yeah, right to the point.
I love it.
Why not?
I love it.
It's also called the 400 silent years, and we touched on this last week.
Mm-hmm.
They're not silent. It's just that we don't have any inspired scripture written down. Mostly.
Worthy enough of the Bible?
Yeah, worthy enough of the Bible. There's things written, but I'll explain later.
Can't wait.
So, yeah, this is an ode to my father. Okay, so my dad, Walter D. Zorn, he wrote this booklet you can find, I think, on Amazon, Between the Testaments. If you want to go deep and learn all about it, it is worth the read.
We are each holding a copy right now.
Yeah, and it's
less than 60 pages.
Yeah. And
it is just packed.
Loaded with good stuff. And so if you're a history buff especially, this is going to excite you a lot.
Cool.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to take an airplane beyond its ability to fly in 50,000-foot range because I cannot get into the details my dad gets into here. That's why there's a book.
That's why Dr. Zorn is the author.
Dr. Zorn is the author, right? Not Master Zorn, right?
No, Doctor.
So what I'm going to do is just kind of go through three layers and just kind of tie it into the New Testament. We're going to talk about the history that happens between the Testaments,
okay, some
of the literature and why it's important, and then the religious, theological, evolvement, if you will. Is that a word? Evolving, the
evolution,
development. Call it this. That's the word I was looking for.
Okay.
Brain's a little tired, I guess.
It's all that racquetball you've been playing.
I know. Body hurts, but so does the brain. So, yeah, I did play this morning, and it felt really good.
Now you need a nap.
By the way, I play with several people, but only two of us get be there today. And my buddy, he's a pastor just 15 minutes down the road. His name's Brent, and it's hot outside, and it was so humid. And inside court 4, it was just so hot and humid. And every time we play a game, we come out just dying and can't breathe and sweating like crazy. And the guys next to us that have been there for 20 years.
Yeah.
We've been there 8 months at this place in particular.
Yeah.
And they said, "Oh, you guys don't want to be in court 4 or 5. We're like, it's the only ones we ever played in. Oh, no. The air conditioner doesn't work down there. Go down to 1, 2, or 3. So we go all the way down to 1. It's beautiful. It's cold. The air is blowing in.
Game changer, literally.
Yeah, because I won.
Look at that.
Yay.
See what I did there?
Anyway,
that's a mom joke.
I don't even. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I'd say dad joke, but I'm not a dad.
No, you're not.
No, it's a mom joke.
Mom joke. Okay, so we're going to go in between the Testaments. I don't even know why we went to racquetball, because you said my brain was tired, okay?
Yep. I was trying to give you an out.
You gave me an out. Thank you for the out. So we have this. We have to go history. We have to go literature, a little bit of literature, and some religious and theological development that takes place. Otherwise, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John won't make as much sense as it does when you know this stuff.
Okay.
So it really enlightens your understanding of the Gospels and the New Testament in light of, they deal with Pharisees and they were Sadducees, and where did they come from? They were not in the Old Testament.
Right.
What about all these other groups that show up, zealots and stuff?
Yeah.
So we're going to touch on all that real quick. This might not be a long episode, but
we're going to find out.
Who knows?
We're considering, because you just decided to do this, it's a bit of bonus content.
Like 3 days ago.
Yeah.
Let's just do this.
We're really, and I say we hilariously loosely, because what I mean is Scott is pulling this right out of, like, just shooting from the hip.
Yep.
And he's just going to take what he knows and what he's been taught out of his dad's book.
Right.
And
so totally
give it back to you guys to hopefully make, when we start New Testament,
yes,
make more sense.
Yes.
I am along that ride with you. I have no idea what you're about to say.
No.
I just looked at this book for the first time today. I just fanned through it. But I've never even thought for a second about how much time was between Old Testament and New Testament. I kind of thought that it was just seamless.
Turn the page. Malachi was best friends with Matthew. No.
Had no idea.
400 plus years of no.
So there's 400 years between
That's a
Old
long
Testament
time.
and New. That's so much time. When you think about where we were in the or the 1600s to the 2000s.
Yeah, our country's
Oh,
starting our 250th year as a country.
right.
We're not even hitting 400.
The United States is
Yeah.
not even 400
No.
years old.
About 60% there.
Yeah, right. So when you think about that time, I never thought, as just a Bible learner here, like the most obvious question, which is like, how much time has passed between these books?
Yeah.
And it's probably overlooked by many,
Oh, totally.
I would say,
Totally.
to think about
I would think so.
just into the New Testament. Okay, next story.
You're probably not going to hear a lot of, I don't know if you'll hear any podcast or very, very few in the ether world about this time period.
Yeah.
Very, very few.
Well, because there's in the Bible itself, if we're covering the Bible, there's without your dad's supportive literature here,
Yeah. I don't
where
know.
would we have even gotten that information?
I don't know.
You know what I mean?
I really don't know.
This is really exciting for everybody to kind of bridge that gap here on the Salty Bible podcast. So
We'll bridge it. We won't. This won't be boring.
not brick by brick. We're gonna run across the bridge.
Sure.
400
let's
years.
run. Which takes us back to last week. We were in Daniel, and so Daniel, ends with the Persian Empire in charge instead of Babylonians anymore. And I need to kind of backtrack a bit. Cyrus was the one that had the conquest of the Babylonian Empire. So that's the first Persian king that wins, is Cyrus. And in fact, in Isaiah, God calls Cyrus his servant, even though he's an evil person too. He calls him his servant. So that just tells me God can work with anybody, anywhere to accomplish his will, however he wants to and however he deems necessary.
No matter what
No
you've
matter what.
done.
No matter what you've done. It doesn't matter.
You have the
You ain't
evil-
Cyrus.
evil place in the world that these people took over the most evil place in the world.
Yes.
And God's still like, I can use you.
Yep.
I can use
even
you.
calls him,
Yeah.
Cyrus calls him his servant
Yeah,
in Isaiah, which is just amazing to me.
it really is.
So later on, it was Darius that was very friendly to the Jews and allowed the Jews to prosper and allowed the Jews to come back to Jerusalem out of exile. So, although they're out of physical exile, they're not out of
Religious,
political,
spiritual
exile, because they don't come back to the land as if it's their land. They're occupied.
Okay.
And other entities all the way through Jesus' day are in charge of this thing called Israel, the promised land. And that bothers them immensely. They want to kick everybody out that they possibly. You're going to see this in this history here. And that rolls right into why Jesus is misunderstood so much. He's going to come in here and be the Messiah. He's going to come in here and take the Romans and kick them out and send them packing. And no, Jesus says, I'm not doing that. That's not how my kingdom works.
Right.
It works through sacrifice. It works through death, burial, and resurrection, not through political and military conquest. It doesn't work that way.
Right.
But that's all they've known, and you're gonna hear that right now. Okay. So we're in the Persian Empire, and they've come in, and they've allowed the Jews to come back to their homeland. Although it's half of what it was. Malachi, the last book of the Old Testament, really attests to this. They're apathetic at the temple, and their sacrifices are mediocre. Their giving is low, and just a lot of bad things. Again, I talked last week about Ruth being a part of the time of the judges. Well, Esther is a part of the time of this Persian Empire.
Oh,
and so when you read the book of Esther, you go to Bible Project to watch that. It's in that time frame here that Esther's there. So what happens next is, and I'm going to literally 50,000 feet above the ground here, okay? So if anybody's wanting details, I apologize.
By the book.
Buy the book. Seriously. Between the Testaments, Walter Zorn, buy the book. You'll get all the details you can ever ask for. There's a lot here. So the next group of people, the next empire to rule past Persia then is the Greeks. And this is so very important.
Okay.
The Greek period is like 330 BC all the way to 164 BC. And their great military leader was Alexander the Great. Have you heard of Alexander the Great before?
I've heard of him, yeah.
Yeah, a historical figure.
Yeah.
When he came in and did conquest through the lands, he took he built up the Greek Empire big time.
Okay.
But he also did something else called, this is a big word, ready? Hellenization.
Hellenization?
So Hellenistic process of enculturating everybody in the Greek way of doing things, the Greek life.
Oh.
And especially the Greek language.
Oh.
So our Old Testament is written in Hebrew, which is the language of the Jews.
Right.
Aramaic as well, parts of it, but that's just another form of Hebrew.
Sure.
It has the same letters.
Mm-hmm.
Now the New Testament is going to be Greek because of this. Alexander the Great comes through, and it's predicted by Daniel. And I told you Daniel could see some visions. Daniel 8, talking about these empires coming and going. And here, Alexander the Great goes through and he conquers and he makes everybody speak Greek.
Interesting.
It's my big fat Greek wedding.
Huh.
He uses Windex. No, I'm just kidding.
I've never seen that movie. I know you're missing me on that one. I really I don't know how I avoided it because it was huge.
It was big.
Like
fat Greek wedding.
Big fat Greek wedding.
Okay.
I've never seen
You
it.
and Ross need to just...
Homework this weekend.
Yep.
Got it.
You will laugh your head off. It is
think-
one of the funniest movies I've ever seen.
That's all I've ever heard. I've never heard a
It's so funny.
single bad thing about the movie.
Everything's Greek. There's a Greek word for this and a Greek word. It's so fun.
That's hilarious.
But Greek just rolls through town, basically. And so Israel itself, the promised land, becomes Hellenized. That is, it becomes Greek cultured.
Why do we call it Hellenization?
I don't know.
Okay, I'll Google that later. I just because of course the word hell is in it, so I'm just curious.
No.
I'm like, does this have something to do with the underworld?
No.
What's going on here? Save that for the supernatural.
I'm reading. No, I don't think it's there either. I'm reading like, Dad, do you say anything about this? No, he just calls it a process called Hellenization. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, he's just saying it is what it is.
So I'm sure if I did a word study, it's probably a particular word.
I figured it was a Greek word,
Yeah,
but
it's
I
a Greek word.
had to ask.
Somebody's gonna email and say, "You dummy."
I was
you know,
just gonna
it's
say,
this, whatever.
or maybe let's think positive. Someone will email and say, "Thank God Blair asked because I was wondering what Hellenization mean in reference to the Greek language. It doesn't seem all that bad to me."
It's not bad.
Okay, good.
But think of it this way: what Alexander the Great did for the world is similar to what we experience now, where a majority of the world can speak English.
Right.
And so in this case, a majority of their world could speak Greek and write it and understand it. And Greek became a common language.
Cool.
Even though Jesus would refer back to Hebrew, some in Arabic,
Sure,
and just some of their ancient languages.
Right.
Greek was no. So that's the big story is Alexander the Great enculturates Israel and the whole land of Israel. Then when he's dead, he has some generals that divide the empire up, the Greek Empire up. Two in particular, Seleucus and Ptolemy. Ptolemy's down in Egypt. Seleucus is over here in Babylon, basically over Persia, Babylon area. Mm. And so what is that? If you do the map, if you get a map out, Israel is tucked between Egypt and Babylon. Okay? Egypt, Babylon, Syria, and Persia and all that.
Okay.
And so these two guys, Seleucus is over here in Babylon area and Ptolemy down in Egypt, they keep battling and they want Israel to be the place where they get an advantage. Okay.
Okay.
And so you have this fight going on between those two. Well, Seleucids, at first they were welcomed by the Jews and like, we like them.
Okay.
We like these overlords. They tend to treat the Ptolemies worse, and we don't like them. So they allow Antiochus III to come in. Well, then it was Antiochus IV that becomes a problem for the Jewish people. Mm. He is a tyrant. He's a bad guy. Daniel 8:9 kind of talks about the little horn, which is Antiochus Epiphanes IV. And he explodes on the Jews and on their land, and especially their temple, destroys it. Roast a pig? You don't do that. You don't roast a pig.
Yeah, they don't eat pork, right?
No.
Okay.
So he does a lot of things on purpose to desecrate. And so
Jeez.
Daniel calls this the abomination that makes desolate. He's talking about this guy that's going to come, that's going to ravage the temple, ravage, the spiritual life of Israel in a sense, and just spit, a pig was sacrificed in honor of the Greek god Zeus, just terrible things that the Jews would be like, no, you don't do this. And so there's some bitterness building big time, okay? Because he comes in. So this is like let's see here. He's the Seleucid Empire area. So this is like a faction or a break off of the Greek period, and then he comes in and he does this awful thing to the Jews. So they revolt. 168 BC, they call it the Maccabean Revolt because Judas Maccabeus, his name is the Hammerer.
Cool. What a cool name.
Now, have you seen The Adjustment Bureau?
No.
Oh, my
What's
goodness.
that?
It's a great movie with Matt Damon in it and Emily Blunt.
What year was that?
Not too many years ago, probably 10.
Well, that's probably why I haven't seen it.
Yeah, you're having babies.
I'm a little busy. If it's not like Ms. Rachel, I'm out.
One of the best movies on how I perceive God understands the present and the future. Oh,
What's it called?
The Adjustment Bureau.
The Adjustment Bureau. Okay.
Great movie. Well, one of their guys that's trying to keep Matt Damon from doing all the things he's doing is they call him the Hammer. So I'm just like,
Nice
the
tie.
Hammer.
Nice tie.
So Judas Maccabeus, this is where my brain works. He's the Hammer. He comes in and revolts on behalf of the Jews. And they take over. They win the revolt. And they win back. Basically, there's this period of about close to 180 years, almost 100 years, where they take back Israel. They take back the temple. I mean, you're going to go and desecrate the temple like that at Antiochus the Fourth, Epiphanes, whatever his name,
Yeah, a lot of weird names.
Yeah, no, I know. It's strange. But if you're going to do that, they're going to revolt. They do revolt, and they come at it strong. So then that set up for the Jews this called the Hasmonean dynasty. And so in the Hasmonean dynasty, you have this groups of people leading the Israelites, trying to restore the temple, trying to restore their worship, get them back on track. But as you can imagine, if you have to fight a war to get your land back and get your worship back, get your spirituality back, you're going to try to protect that like crazy
with everything you have. Yeah.
And then it becomes internalized. Then it becomes more about preservation. That becomes problematic.
Yeah.
Because out of this, we're going to get this idea that we, at all costs, we have to preserve what we have. We have to preserve what we have, and we have to do the law of Moses perfectly and well so that God will send his Messiah to conquer these people that keep conquering us. And that's the mentality is...
If I behave, I'll be protected? Is that kind of the idea?
It's kind of like...
If I'm perfect, I'll get what I want.
If I follow the law,
okay,
God will kick out these foreigners who keep conquering us and using our land. So they come back out of exile from Babylon only to be occupied over and over again.
Jeez. Until
this happens and the Hasmonean dynasty kicks in. And that leads to a family, the Herodians. Herod the Great and Herod the First, Herod the Second. The Herodians are kind of like the new king of the Jews.
Okay.
And they come out of this dynasty, they come out of this period of time, and Herod's a great builder, and they like to play all sides. That's what I'm trying to say. They like to play all sides. They like to be happy with the Romans and be happy with the Jews and be just anybody that's occupying the area, anybody that he has to deal with. He likes the Greek culture, so he's just placating everybody. that's when Jesus comes on the scene, and Herod is the king of the Jews
Yeah.
in Jerusalem. But the Rome, at that point in time, Rome is over them. And so you're going to see a lot of dynamics in play when you read the New Testament because of this.
What's that phrase? Like a friend to all is a friend to none.
Exactly.
You know.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Who was it? What was that country singer? You probably wouldn't know.
No, because it's country.
Got to stand for something or you fall for anything.
Right. There you go. So what we have is Pompey. You ever heard of Pompey?
Yes.
You have this ruler, Pompey, from Rome.
Okay.
Well, he conquers, and then the Roman Empire starts kicking into gear now. So Greeks, Seleucids, Hasmoneans, even, the Maccabean revolt, everything is the past. Now the Roman domination becomes the present and the future. And Rome is more powerful than all of them.
Okay.
I mean, makes the Greeks look silly.
Like they could.
Seleucids and the
They'll
Ptolemies,
swoop
silly. They're big.
Yeah.
They're big time. And so the Hasmonean dynasty comes to an end. The rule of the Jews over their own land, at least over the temple and their religious practices, and comes to an end, and the Romans take over. Now, of course, they're still practicing, but they're not in charge, right? And then the Herodians come into play as like a puppet of Rome.
Oh, okay. Doing the dirty work?
Yeah, they're the Jewish king, but under the thumb of Rome.
He answers to someone.
Mm-hmm.
He has to obey Rome's order.
Yep.
Okay.
And then that leads you to Pontius Pilate and Herod. A couple of Herods that show up in the New Testament: Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, even into Acts, and so that is a terrible overview.
Terrible overview.
Terrible overview.
Just a lot of rulers and
it's a lot of
tug
empire.
Of war.
Yeah, it's a lot of empire occupying, taking over, abusing, using Israel.
I was just gonna say Israel has been yanked in so many different directions at this point.
And it's from the east. It's from the south. It's
the north. Yeah,
in the north. Of course, to the west is Mediterranean Sea. So every direction possible.
Got that going for them.
Yeah, but Greek came that way too.
I was just gonna say they came over on boats. I'm
right,
sure.
Yeah. So every direction, they're just getting torn apart, right? And they revolt in the middle of this, because we've had enough. Don't sacrifice. You can't have a pig roast on our altar.
Right.
We're not there yet.
Big slap in the face.
Right.
Yeah. God hasn't said that it's okay for them to eat pork yet, right?
Well.
Or did he and it just hasn't caught wind?
We'll get to that.
All right. Sorry.
Okay.
Here I am jumping ahead.
Well, I do like bacon, right? And who doesn't? So
it's my favorite.
Okay. So there's a reason why we can eat bacon.
We'll get to that. I had salami sandwich today for
there
lunch.
You go.
It's delicious.
So what we have there is that's historical culture, okay? That's empire. But you have to feel this.
Mm-hmm.
Like Israel is angry at everything around them because they keep pushing in on them and taking them over.
Well,
and
they don't know where their next enemy is going to come from.
It just keeps coming.
They can't even predict the enemy at this point.
And they fight it.
Yeah.
They had enough. They snapped. Maccabean revolt was a big snap for about 80 to 100 years,
Mm-hmm.
But then when Rome comes, the Pompey thing, and then Rome comes in and takes over, and Herod now is seated as king over Jerusalem, over Israel. He's a puppet king. He's not your Saul, Solomon, and David and Solomon king.
Or they're a little nutty, but they're driving their own bus at least. I guess they can answer for their own
They're
actions.
super political.
Yeah.
They want Rome happy because when Rome's not happy, it's not good.
Right.
And we know that because of the cross, right? Because they thought Jesus was, they want Pax Romana is a big deal, the peace of Rome. They were proud of that. And anything that disturbed that, boy, they wanted to snuff it out. And so there's this,
Was Rome heavy into paganism at this point?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
What culture is it?
Well, sure. Yeah, I guess that's the whole point.
But Rome took it to another level. I mean, they had
clearly
the pantheon of gods. They had a god for everything. And you're going to see that in the book of Acts, too, because they confront that. They confront every temple possible.
Yeah.
Why? Because we are the real temple.
Yeah. Right.
So there's going to be that rub constantly
Mm-hmm.
between their temples, their gods,
Yep.
and the true God that lives inside of us, the true temple.
Yeah.
That's always going to be the case,
Right.
right? So, oh goodness, yes, pantheon of gods that they worship, all kinds for all kinds of reasons.
Jeez.
And Paul walks into Athens, part of the Roman Empire at the time, and he says, "Oh, I see that you're very religious people. You worship all these gods, and then you even have one to an unknown God." Well, let me tell you about that, because they even wrote an inscription into an unknown God because, well, just in case we missed one,
Oh my gosh.
let's just have one.
Just a backup space.
Right.
Oh my gosh. It's just so hard for me to picture, just because
I know.
Rome now is like, the Catholic center of the world.
Right.
The Vatican.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
you can't see, I can't see past that with
Sure.
the Vatican being literally the center of the Catholic faith, right? Like,
Right.
to think paganism was what was driving
Oh,
them
yeah.
all in their
Oh, yeah.
conquests and everything else. It's kind of hard for me to envision. I'm not going to lie. I'm like, when you think Rome now, what do you think of?
A pope from Chicago,
Amen.
but he's a White Sox fan.
I
so
know.
I
I
don't
was
know.
really hoping he was a North Sider, but he's not. But
I
we'll
was
take
really
what we
hoping
can
he
get.
was a Cardinals fan.
It's cool, he's American, But the when I think Rome and the Vatican now, for what it is now,
Mm-hmm.
I have such a hard time envisioning paganism.
Yeah.
Such a hard time. It's so hard for me to envision that.
But it was all over the empire.
But I mean, clearly, this book has it
it's there.
in black and white.
Yeah.
That was not their driving force.
All over it. So just to
Yeah.
know the history, we're going from Persia
Mm-hmm.
to the Greeks,
Mm-hmm.
the battle between Seleucids and the Ptolemies, north and east.
Yeah.
I mean, south and east. And out of that, and Antiochus Epiphanes, who just does horrible things, and this revolt, Hasmonean dynasty, comes out of this Maccabean revolt. And after that period is done, then you have the Romans taking over, and a puppet king in Herod and his family. He likes to build things. They always like to build things. So
He's
that
a wussy.
yeah, that historically sets up Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John.
That's so crazy.
Okay, that's historically. Now let's look at let's kind of go with little religious theological development.
Sure.
So we did the historical development. Here's what happens in this time frame, and this may have happened maybe during the exile and during the dispersion of the Jews in the north back in the Old Testament,
Oh, okay.
where synagogues began to pop up or be created. Synagogues is a big word in the New Testament. Don't show it in the Old.
Right.
But it's just since they couldn't access their temple because they were driven out of the land, right? In exile.
Right.
They created these little religious centers, if you will, community centers, where they could go and read the law, be taught the law, get connected to the law. If we can't have the temple, well, we'll have a synagogue, right?
Okay.
It wasn't in replacement of the temple, but it was like, okay, we need something. So that began to be developed, which means there were scribes and these.
What's the difference between a synagogue and a temple?
Well, the temple was in Jerusalem. It was
Oh,
one.
because there was one at the time. Okay, right.
Synagogues are like churches, if you will.
Okay, that's I was like, you gotta
Pop, all over the
Right.
place, right?
never thought about the difference in those words
Yes.
ever.
So scribes come on the scene.
Okay.
The Sanhedrin comes on the scene. There's the origin of the Samaritans, a group of people that I think through various factors, they intermarried with the culture around them, but they were also very friendly to the Hellenization process of becoming Greek.
Okay.
And they just married. They didn't stick within the Jewish community.
Okay.
And therefore, Samaritans during this time, my dad read a whole book on this, and that was his dissertation for his PhD. And basically, that's why you have Jesus and disciples and everybody in Jesus' day. They don't want to be near the Samaritans in the north of Jerusalem, because they intermarried, they were polluted, if you will. They weren't purely Jewish. And that really developed during this time. That group of
Okay.
people developed.
Okay.
And so when you talk about the Samaritan woman, Jesus talks to the Samaritan woman. Everybody's like, why are we traveling through here? We go around here. We don't go through here. And on top of that, why are you talking to a woman? And then why are you talking to a Samaritan woman? I mean, it just keeps getting worse.
Right.
And Jesus does this because he's like, you know what? They're Jews too.
Yeah, we're not here to
Even
pass judgment.
if they're not full Jew,
Right.
they
Right.
still worship Yahweh God, and
Yeah.
they're going to be redeemed like the rest of the world
Right.
through me. But anyway, so you have distinct groups being kind of like developed during this time: Sadducees and Pharisees. Something you don't hear in the Old Testament, something you do in the New, and they're really developed. Sadducees and Pharisees are extremely developed because they're the ones that are like, we've got to hold to the law, especially the Pharisees. We need to hold to the law because God promises he's going to come rescue us.
Right.
And they believe that if we follow the law of Moses, that God will reward us for obeying him
Right.
and bring Messiah to us.
Okay.
And many Messiahs showed up, by the way, during this time, or
Okay.
so-called Messiahs, self-proclaimed Messiahs,
Okay.
but they didn't turn out to be anything.
Right.
And so only the one that can be raised from the dead can be vindicated as the true Messiah, and that'd be
Right.
Jesus. And so you have zealots coming out. The zealots would be a little bit more like a violent group.
Oh.
They're zealot.
I mean,
They fight, and one of Jesus' disciples was a zealot.
really?
Yeah, it says Mark 3:18, Jesus chose Simon the zealot.
Huh.
So they have these categories that kind of take place.
Simon was a bit of a meathead, huh?
Yeah. So here's some of the categories. The extremists would be your Pharisees and zealots. So in religion, the Pharisees were very like hold to the law.
Yeah.
You have to hold to the law. And then in politics, it was the zealots that were like, let's fight the Romans. Let's go fight. And then moderates would be your Sadducees. They didn't believe in the resurrection. They just were there. And Herodians were there. And then you have these ascetics, these people that wanted to get away from everybody, Essenes, the Qumran community, and create their own community, kind of separatists, if you will.
Okay.
So all these groups, though, show up in the New Testament at some level.
Yeah.
And if you don't know what's going on historically and religiously in the developments here in these quote-unquote silent years,
Right.
you'll miss it. And I don't want people to miss it. I'm moving fast now.
No, it's all good.
Let's go to the literature. Unless you have a question.
I'm ready. No, I actually just noticed in this book he has a table, and I now see where you get it. You love a table
I love tables.
because it makes sense.
Yes.
And I'm also a visual
Yes.
learner myself, and I was just looking at the summary on page 23. And there's a bit of a mini table there,
Yep.
and I was perusing the table, and it was a really good breakdown in religion and in politics. You have these breakdowns of extremists, moderates, and
Yeah. So think of it this
Ascetics.
way. Those who really want to preserve the Jewish way of life, Pharisees, zealots.
Zealots,
Those who like capitulate and
yeah,
conform to Roman and Greek cultures and the Herodian Empire and the Herodian kings and all that. Sadducees and Herodians, of course. And then the aesthetics are the ones that want to separate from all of them. They want to do their own thing.
They're like,
The
I'm outta
Essenes,
here.
the Qumran, yeah.
Yeah.
They
He breaks it down beautifully, and I was just thinking to myself,
yeah.
I know a Zorn table when I see one.
It started with him. That's right. So you have that development. Then you have this development of literature, and this is I'm not going to spend much time here,
Okay.
except for one. But there's two things in particular. Well, maybe four things in particular. But Jewish literature, the Mishnah is basically the oral tradition of the elders written down in later centuries and after Jesus, and it's really a deposit of 4 centuries of Jewish religious and cultural activity in Palestine. So the Mishnah is the oral tradition written down, and the Talmuds are they're developed in Palestine, and they have even a Babylonian Talmud. Just this Jewish literature that helped people understand and follow the law better and teach them that. But people like the Pharisees and all, they just went overboard with it. Like they would add, I would call it like a fence around the law. They would add laws to make sure you would never violate one of God's laws, right? So they had all these other laws that went attached to, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Let's make 5 rules so we don't break the one rule, right?
Right.
You know, and that's kind of what they did. And that's why Jesus is like, man, you guys really don't understand Sabbath. You really don't understand this, and you're so picky about this, and you're so perfectionistic about that. And it's not what I'm after. I'm after grace, I'm after mercy, I'm after a lot of different things.
I don't need perfection.
He wants sacrifice. He wants obedience and relationship.
Yes. Yeah.
So they went
submission, you know.
But you have to at least have some sympathy for the Pharisees at this level. They come out of a revolt in a dynasty that got decimated.
Yeah.
You know, and they have, I'm sure they're telling the oral traditions, telling the stories to the kids, to the grandkids. Hey, we remember when Antiochus Epiphanes did this to our temple. We're never going to let that happen again.
Right.
You can hear that around the table.
It's our duty to defend what we have.
We defend this temple thing, right?
Yeah.
And so they seem hardcore, they seem legalistic, and they are legalistic.
Mm-hmm.
But because of all that reactionary things, all those things, they missed out on what God was really after. And that's when Jesus comes along and says,
you don't have to do any of that.
Let me redefine things around me. I am God in flesh. Let me redefine it so that you can understand it. Let me live it out for you.
Let me show
you.
Yes.
Let me be the example for you of what we're really talking about here. You've just gone too far.
Mm-hmm.
And
out of fear.
A lot of it.
A lot of fear driven.
And probably a lot of anger.
Spite.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And like you said, I mean,
it's reactionary.
You kind of feel for them because
they're
only human. They've been through so much.
Yeah.
And I don't think you can look at any of them who've been through unimaginable things we couldn't imagine in our modern day world and think, oh, yeah, they're a little jaded.
Good word.
You know?
They're jaded.
They're a little jaded. And it took Jesus to show them, hey, it's okay. Like, we're just going to move on this way.
Yeah.
Let me show you how.
Is it bad that the Pharisees wanted to hold to the law? No. It's a good thing.
Sure.
They just were so legalistic about it. They were so unmerciful about
rigid.
It. Rigid.
Unforgiving.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, which is not what God says.
No. But they were just they got so myopic. You know, their vision about the law is like, oh, it's this and this only.
Yeah.
And then you can get that way.
I think
about anything.
A lot of people get that way.
Something bad happens to you.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you clamp down.
It's a grudge.
To make sure that doesn't happen again.
Mm-hmm.
And then you end up doing things that you shouldn't be doing because it's hurting you and other people.
You know,
even though you're in your mind, you're saying, I'm going to protect myself.
Yeah. It's where self-preservation becomes self-destruction.
Yeah. Oh, good. Very good.
Yeah. It's a slippery slope.
Yep.
Truly. Because you close yourself off, you become too rigid. That's where it's going to head. Clearly here, as we can see.
Yes. So real quick, 2 things. The literature. You may have heard of the Apocrypha.
No, I have not.
Okay. Well, somebody listening has.
I'm certain of it. I'm certain of it.
There are 10 books that are called the Apocrypha.
Okay.
And before I get to that, by the way, just because I don't want to forget this. It's on my mind now. If I have to say it now or I'll forget.
Get it out.
During this time, early on, I think when the Greeks, Alexander the Great and all that was going on, when the Greeks kind of took over and the Greek language took over, there was a group of 70 scholars down in Alexandria in Egypt.
Okay.
And they translated the Old Testament into Greek.
Oh, wow.
Because they saw that the culture had changed and they saw that the language had changed.
They're not going to be able to read it.
And there may be generations that wouldn't be able to read it. And so they translated it. So a lot of the New Testament authors and Jesus himself, Paul, Peter, when they quote Old Testament quotes, when it's written down in our New Testament scriptures, they're most of the time, they're quoting the Greek Old Testament, not the Hebrew.
Oh, wow.
That makes a big difference.
Huge.
In some cases, because of the words they use, and it helps.
The translation of it.
Yeah, it helps the understanding of it. So
Okay.
that's called the Septuagint.
Okay.
Septuagint is 70. It means 70, and
I can say the sept in there.
Sept, yep.
Yeah.
So it's 70. And the 70 scholars went and translated the Old Testament into Greek.
Wow.
So you can have the whole Bible in Greek.
Okay.
Okay? Because of them.
Can't read one word in Greek, but I'm glad it's out there.
I know a little Greek. He's about 4'2".
Oh, come on.
Bad, I know. Sorry.
There's the dad joke.
There's a dad joke, yes. So back to the Apocrypha. So there's some books that were written in between these testaments.
Okay.
In history, the Catholic Church has included the Apocrypha as part of Scripture before.
Really?
Yes.
They no longer do?
Some, to be honest with you, and
They
this
just
is
honor
just
it, not include it?
yes.
Okay. I can see
And
that.
somebody's going to have to text me or email me or something.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure if there are churches today that hold the Apocrypha in their scriptures still.
Oh.
They might.
Okay.
And maybe part of the Catholic Church does,
Interesting.
but I know they did before, and then
Okay.
they took it out as well.
Okay.
So these 10 books have been in there and then not. And there's this process of, is it inspired scripture? Is the Holy Spirit driving it? So most don't think these are considered scripture, these books. And then there's the Tobit, Judith, Wisdom of Solomon, Baruch, Letter of Jeremiah, not Jeremiah the prophet, but the Letter of Jeremiah. A lot of these books and a lot of the literature that's being created during this time is what's called apocalyptic. Which means it's full of
I got it now.
deep emotional imageries, weird sounding text and so forth. Daniel had some of it at the end of his book. There's another group of books written called the Pseudepigrapha.
Okay.
There's the Apocrypha and the Pseudepigrapha.
Okay.
They were written between this time, okay?
Okay.
These really have a lot of apocalyptic nature to their literature, the way it's written.
Yikes.
Now, wait a minute.
Scary stuff.
I didn't do that right. There's 15 books in the Apocrypha. Sorry.
15?
I didn't turn the page.
Man, there needs to be an arrow.
Yeah, there it is.
Second edition coming
So
soon.
there's 15.
That's crazy, though.
See, if my dad's listening, he's going to be like, oh, you're butchering this thing so bad. I mean, no, this is a great promo for your book.
Yeah.
I'm doing such a bad job of it. People are going to want to get the book to get it right.
No, we're planning curiosity is all, know?
Right. Here's where I want to just land. And that's a couple of things here. They're so good. First Enoch, second Enoch, but the book Enoch shows up in the Pseudepigrapha. Why do I think that's important? Well, because New Testament authors quote from it. Okay?
Okay.
That is where we get a lot of the details of the story of the supernatural worldview
Wow.
of the sons of God with the daughters of men in Genesis 6, of the supernatural rebellions and what happened to them. And when you read 1 Peter, and when you read Jude, and when you read a lot of the passages where Peter too,
Yeah.
but Paul in particular talks about the rulers of this age, the principalities, the powers of the authorities. He's not talking about King so-and-so. He's talking about these guys.
Right.
And so that comes out of the book of Enoch. And I have that in my office. It's very fascinating.
Wow.
And it is quoted by New Testament authors. So it becomes a very important text. These texts aren't to be dismissed just because they're not part of our Bible.
Right.
They can inform. And that one in particular, I think, informs more than most because of that supernatural worldview. And we discovered a lot of these, and we discovered a lot of ancient Old Testament texts that go back thousands of years earlier, or at least copies of text, when we discovered the Dead Sea Scrolls
Wow.
in the 1940s, I believe. And the Dead Sea Scrolls is a huge, huge deal. It's 1947.
We discovered those in the 1940s.
Yeah.
That's wild.
But let me tell you what that has done. It's changed the way I preach, by the way. I just didn't know it.
Just a small event.
Yeah.
Over to you.
Totally. But see, these scrolls that were discovered located near Jericho,
Okay.
near the Qumran community, that separatist community, they were old Hebrew texts, and it took us back 1,000 years. So the Old Testament, you have, and New, you have the original copy, which nobody has, but you have copies of the copies.
Okay.
This took us back 1,000 years earlier.
That's
So
crazy.
we were able to get that much closer to the original. So what we have in the Bible, unlike the Constitution of the United States, unlike any other book you've ever read,
Yeah.
any other document you've ever known, the Bible is the most accurate by far, by thousands,
Yeah.
because we have these Dead Sea Scrolls that take us back many, many years, that covered a lot of scripture that we were able to preserve. And here's the cool thing about God. Like, they were preserved in a desert, dry, arid area. That's where these Dead Sea Scrolls were found. The perfect
environment.
climate and environment
Yeah.
for scrolls to be preserved. God knew this. I believe it.
And knew when we needed them.
And we discovered them in 1947, and it took, a good generation, 40, 50 years, about 40 years, for people to interpret, translate those scrolls,
Right.
make sure of their accuracy, get it all down, and that included the pseudepigraphas and apocrypha, all this stuff that we've learned about is there. And now in the 1990s and the 2000s, you have authors like N.T. Wright and authors like Michael
Crazy.
Heiser and the Bible Project people that I'm telling you about.
Yeah.
Another one I want to mention, Ring Them Bells.
Ring them bells.
It's a podcast that kind of takes Heiser, N.T. Wright, Bible Project, and other guys. In fact, one of the guys that I met and learned under the same professor that I learned under when it came to the book of Revelation, Bob Lowry was our professor. This guy's name is Shane Wood. He is a professor at Ozark Christian College in Joplin, Missouri. I met him once, and he's like my opposite in the sense that, not my opposite, my parallel.
Yeah.
I was Bob Lowry's TA, teacher assistant in seminary, and so was Shane. But Shane went off to Ozark, and I stayed in Illinois. So Shane's on this podcast, too. I saw him last night. I was watching it, and it was really cool. So Ring Them Bells like synthesizes all of these other podcasts and other Bible scholars and puts things together. And
Cool.
it's like having the best reunion of your theological career. It's like all in one place, and I'm like,
I think my brain would melt.
oh no, it's so good.
That's
It's
cool.
so good. It's
Yeah.
so good. Those guys are good. I don't know who they are. I don't know where they come from. I don't know much about them, but I just have
that's
to mention
awesome.
that. So these Dead Sea Scrolls, I mean, they had to be in this arid, dry desert to be preserved all these years for us to discover them in 1947. And now in the 2000s, we're getting commentary after commentary that has a lot of more insight into Jewish living, Jewish world, what was happening in between the testaments that led to Jesus, that gives us so much greater understanding of the gospel stories that is just mind-boggling.
That's so nuts.
Absolutely mind-boggling. And I am the recipient in my career. I'm in the middle to the later part of my career. But I get to read all this stuff and learn all this stuff and watch all this stuff. Michael Heiser was the one that really took this. N.T. Wright took it to. He took all this information and just started writing books and just information that we didn't know before, and it just is so insightful. So if you have those goosebump moments, it's because of these guys and because of the discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls.
Total clarity.
It just
provided.
really just cleaned things up and helped us understand a lot more than we did before.
That is so cool.
Oh, it is.
That
it
is
is.
so
It's such a
cool.
big event, and that all happened. All this writing and
It's
literature,
such a modern discovery for such an ancient document.
and it just.
I mean, that you think 1947, you're like, oh my gosh, the old days, but it's not. That's an extremely modern discovery.
My dad was born in 43.
It's
So
extremely.
he was 4 years old
yeah.
when they were discovered.
That's a modern discovery.
Right.
That is so crazy to think about, that the Bible as we know it now, even just in the 40s, wouldn't have been as clear to us.
Oh, yeah.
What a gift.
It is a huge gift.
That's insane.
It's a huge gift.
That's insane.
No kidding.
Man, can you imagine what they were feeling when they were discovering these things, not knowing what they were, and then finding out what they were? Oh, man.
Well, they went nuts.
I like finding a penny on the ground. That gets me excited, you know? So I can't imagine finding
scrolls.
ancient documents just
Oh, it's
giving
huge.
us a peek into thousands of years ago.
It's huge.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
That's so nuts.
Yeah.
That's
so,
nuts.
So what you have here is not really 400 silent years. You
No,
have history that was against the Jews.
Mm-hmm.
A little revolt in the middle of all that. You have religious development that helps us understand the New Testament better. So we know now we're Pharisees and Sadducees and Zealots and, you know, the Herodians and the Qumran community, the Zealots. We know where they all come from and why they act the way they do and believe the way they believe and think the way they think. And
It does make sense.
and Jesus had to fight. He wasn't just fighting, if you will, fight. That's the word I want to use. Confronting. He wasn't just confronting groups of religious sect of people. You know, he was confronting history that had shaped them to think the way they thought.
Oh, that had a, you know, just a vice grip on these people.
Yep.
They didn't, and not to mention, when you think about 400 years of time, it almost had to be so much time because they were so set in their ways, and there had been no example generationally to be seen. So not only are they telling these stories and they're building their, I don't want to say like grudge, but they're just continuing the grudge, the, you know, the strife, I guess you could say. But for Jesus to then come on when he did 400 years later and show the example that has never been shown before, that has never been talked about, and then everyone go, what are you doing? Oh my gosh, we don't talk to them. We don't talk to them. That's not what we're supposed to do. And he's like, where does it say that? And they're like, I don't know. We're just like, not gonna, because it could get us in trouble with God. And he's like, I'm going to show you how God, me, wants you to behave against all others, no matter what their walk of life is. And they have never seen that before, because all they have been shown is hate and fighting and killing and greed and reign, you know, for their own wants and needs.
Yep.
Jesus totally blew that apart, because where would he have learned that?
And so you can understand why they didn't see him as the real Messiah, because he wasn't doing what they wanted him to do.
No, they probably thought he was weird.
Yeah. Well, or just he's false.
He's crazy.
But then he got into the whole.
He showed them.
Yep.
He showed them.
Here's where we're going to end this, because this is so beautiful. This is so good. In Galatians chapter 4, verse 4, it says this. Paul says to the Galatian church, when the set time had fully come, or in some versions of the Bible, it's when the fullness of time had come.
Okay. I like that phrase.
I do.
That's
the
nice.
fullness of time.
Fullness of time has come.
When the fullness of time came, God sent his son, born of a woman, born under the law. Okay. To redeem those under the law, that we might receive adoption to sonship. So, God sent his son, Jesus, to redeem us. That's what he's saying. But he starts the whole phrase with, in the fullness of time.
Yeah.
So why Jesus? Why 403 BC?
Right. Why?
Why? And somebody's going to say, wasn't it 0? No, it was 403 BC. We got a lot of reasons why.
Until you told me that, I thought it was 0.
I know, but it's not.
Like,
And there's so many. Okay.
I don't even ever think I asked why. I was just like, okay.
I appreciate that.
If you say so. Who am I to question it?
But the question is why? And
Yeah.
here, what we just talked about. The Hellenization process.
Right.
Making everything Greek culture, making everything one language. Oh, now you have a world that speaks one language. Rome comes in. Pax Romana.
Yeah.
The peace of Rome. Now you have a world that's not at war. It's peaceful.
Yeah.
mostly.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, they get rid of people when they
It's
don't
not a perfect
obey.
world, but
But yeah.
relatively.
But there's no fighting empire
Sure.
per se at this time.
Yeah.
Rome, as it takes over, creates what we call Roman roads
Right.
and the shipping lanes and all that. You have one language, you have peace, and you have transportation that is unparalleled to any other time.
The story can now travel.
Now it can travel.
Mm-hmm.
And now everybody can understand it because the New Testament's written in Greek.
I have goosebumps again.
Here we go. So it's
That's going to be Scott's goal every end of episode. Wrap it up for me.
But
That's crazy.
Paul says, in the fullness of time,
There it
God
is.
sent his son.
There it is.
Why? What is the fullness? Well, it wasn't Malachi in the end of the Old Testament.
It
no.
couldn't have been that.
No. It's all the stuff that we don't know about.
Mm-hmm.
In between the one blank page in between your Old New Testament, that's the fullness of time. All the things that happened, happened, and God allowed it to happen so that really soon, after Jesus' resurrection, after his ascension to the right hand of the Father and the giving of the Holy Spirit, and all those people come to the book of Acts, they come to Pentecost, and they can hear, because tongues were allowed to be spoken, they could hear their own language being spoken,
Yeah.
and they could run back on the Roman roads
And tell people.
and tell people this good news.
And they would understand
And they would
it.
understand it.
Far and wide.
And it's Babel reversed.
And to bring it to now, wouldn't you also think that the scrolls we found were found in the fullness of that time? Because we had the
Possibly.
technology to then
Yeah.
decipher them, preserve them, make copies.
Digital copies now.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Distribute them, make it all make sense for the holes that were there. But once we finally understood it, I mean,
Let's think about it.
all God's timing always, right? Like in everything you've ever thought about. Just when you think you want something, it doesn't happen, and then it does. Me as a realtor, I say this all the time to my clients. I'm not even joking. It's every single day. When they don't get the house they want, they wrote the best offer they could. I want that house. It's the perfect house. It's the one for me. You have to believe in God's timing. And then they find the one that's really for them and they go, woo, thank God I
That's
didn't
the
get,
one. Right.
literally, thank God I didn't get 123 Main Street because I so clearly was supposed to have 456 Oak. You know, like this was supposed to be my home. Oh my gosh, I would have missed
So
on
much
this.
better.
And it's all God's timing.
If you pursue God, if you pray, if you listen, it can be that way. It can be that way. He can orchestrate things that way.
And
it's
it
very
is
possible to do that. Yes.
Irrefutable. Yeah.
And even today, like we just figured out today that there's somebody in another country listening to this podcast.
Yeah, which is so wild.
And so, but think about that. I mean, Apostle Paul would be like,
How? Yeah, right.
I wish I had the internet when I was going around.
What's a podcast? What's the internet?
So I keep asking the question to myself,
Use it
like,
to fish?
why didn't God send Jesus during our day when the communication's off the charts? And I don't know if I have a good answer for that, except that I don't know that Jesus would have been a sideshow. He would have been a circus.
Yeah, we're too mean.
We're too rebellious,
Way too mean and rebellious.
disobedient. And I think the resurrection, and
I think
somebody
it
would have said
happened.
that's a what do we call it? Cropping. When you do a photoshopping. And
Yes,
stuff
yes,
like
yeah.
that. So maybe this wasn't the perfect time. That was.
Yeah.
The time was fully come, and we just learned about what was going on during that time so that Jesus can come,
Yeah.
right?
Right. Well, and he wouldn't have been crucified on a cross nowadays.
No.
Probably would have just been put in jail.
Yeah.
He probably would have been
Or in the Eastern culture, could have been beheaded.
beheaded. I mean, who knows? Like in our modern American culture, he may have been deemed insane.
Yep.
Given some meds, locked in a room. Who knows?
Right.
Who knows what would have happened to him and what we would have done with him.
Right.
So the timing is exactly what it needed to be
Yep.
to accomplish the mission over and over and over and over again.
Right.
right on
And
down to buying a house.
Sure.
That's the way I use it.
There you go.
That's my everyday application to having faith, because you lose it. If not, this market will crush anybody. But the faith consistent. Just before we recorded today, what happened? My buyers got an email.
Oh, yeah.
They got their offer accepted, and it actually was even better than they originally offered. The sellers literally countered us better than what we originally offered. That does not happen.
That's amazing.
That's crazy. That
That's
was
great.
crazy. And you saw it in black and white.
Yes.
Like, I can go on record here to say,
Yep.
that
Yep.
was the craziest thing I've
I'm
ever
a
seen.
witness. Totally.
Craziest thing ever happened. And this family is so deserving. But like, that's my everyday application. So I'm sure you, listener, can come out here and when you're listening to this, find something where you're like, that was on God's timing. My grandma used to do it when she was driving the car. She'd get stuck behind somebody super slow, or something inconvenient would happen. And she's like, well, God's probably just saving me from a terrible wreck. I'm
That's
just gonna
funny.
trust
I've
that.
always thought that. Everybody's like, why did so-and-so have to die in a car wreck? I get that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's terrible.
Of course.
And we see it all the time up here in Chicagoland.
Oh, yeah.
It's almost every day.
Mm-hmm.
But I always say, well, what we don't know and we should thank God for is all the times where he saved us from a wreck.
Yep.
Because he made us late for this or that. Maybe.
Yeah, never know.
No, I'm not one to say that he's like pulling my strings and I'm just a
Not
puppet.
at all.
No. But there's sometimes where I think, God certainly has the power to intervene
Totally.
and to distract me for 5 seconds so I don't get in that intersection at that point in time. Whatever.
Exactly.
It
Or
can
distract
happen,
someone else, put them in my path so
Right.
that I'm stopped from doing something that could have been a worser fate. Who knows?
Or just meet somebody at a restaurant that needs Jesus and I just happen to be there.
Yeah.
And I kind of know about him and I can talk about him to somebody.
Yeah, you know a little bit. You know just a little bit.
I know a little Jesus. Funny. Somebody gave me this little half-inch Jesus I have on my desk. They said, you need a little Jesus in your life. I'm like, okay.
That's the cutest thing I've ever heard. It rivals the
Literally.
little Greek and the little Jesus.
Literally half-inch tall
The
Jesus.
Little Jesus.
It's so
That's
funny.
hilarious.
So funny. Well, we've kind of gone off the rails here, but anyway,
When do we not?
I know. That's between the testaments.
We
And
said this was going to be a mini episode. Wrong.
how long are we going on this one?
We're about an hour.
Oh dear. Okay, we're done. We're done.
You did good. Thank you to Dr. Walter Zorn for the excellent literature. Again, Between the Testaments, the
He'll do-
400 Silent Years on Amazon.
And read it because what I just did in this last hour is not worthy of this book. Sorry. Sorry, Dad.
It was a really good dusting of it, because this book does have a lot. I was skimming the pages as you were speaking, and I'm like, whoa.
And that is your copy, by the way.
Oh, and I got a little present. Oh my gosh, our birthdays were just last week, so
That's
nice,
right.
nice little birthday present for us. All right, well, thank you, everyone. Can't wait. Next time we come across your speakers, we'll be into the New Testament,
It gets better.
and it's looking up.
It's looking way better. Right.
All right, thanks, everyone. Don't forget saltybiblepodcast@gmail.com.
Subscribe, share, and submit. Subscribe so you don't miss an episode. Share so other people don't miss episodes, and submit a review so that it can be out there more.
Yes.
I guess I don't know how the algorithms
It
work.
helps
but
people find us. Click the 5th star, please.
There you go.
Pretty please. All right, see you guys all next time.